Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I hope everyone's doing well. My name is Mizi Wahid, and I am here with the amazing Lisa Surihani. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, assalamualaikum, everyone.
Yes, everyone, and
Oh,
welcome to The Truth About Love. This is a program that myself and Lisa have agreed to do, and it's going to take about 15 episodes. And we're going to touch on various topics surrounding love, and we hope that it will be a beneficial series for all of you. The reason why we do this is because we truly believe that there are just too many questions out there about love that have been unanswered. But at the same time, Lisa, we're not trying to tell everyone that we know all the answers, right?
absolutely. Absolutely.
We're just here, two friends having a conversation, a frank, honest, open conversation about various topics, anything from understanding the concept of love from an
Mm,
Islamic perspective,
mm,
challenges when it comes to relationships,
mm.
singlehood, marriage, post-marriage, the pains that we endure throughout, relationships and because of love. And at the end of it, we're going to talk about how we can heal and thrive even in love. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I hope it's going to be an interesting program for all of you. So, 15 episodes, and there are 4 parts. And today is episode 1. It's
Ooh.
called Love Redefined. It's a very bold title, but I think it's important for us to talk about concepts of love, especially in the times that we live in today, Lisa,
Uh-huh.
where there are so many influences out there that teach us directly or indirectly about what love is, what love should be,
Mm.
and yeah, I hope it's something that we can talk about in greater depth and detail. Yeah.
Oh
Before
yeah,
that,
I'm trying to figure it out all by myself also as well,
yeah,
and I think it would be a great opportunity for me to also sort of like have a have another have different perspectives, like
yeah.
for example, for me on my own, for example, like, if someone were to ask me what is love,
Mm.
I would
Let's
pause.
let's start with that. That's a good question to start with.
All right,
do
let's
you
do
know?
that.
Do you know that whenever I don't, I'm pretty sure it's the same with any other discipline in science. Yeah, but in Islamic sciences, whatever subject that I studied in my madrasa days and Islamic university days, every subject we wanted to go into, we had to first define the meaning of that subject, the title of it, right?
Right. Okay.
So, Lisa, let's start off with that. What is love in your
What is love?
perspective?
Oh, I have to go first. Okay.
Mm,
Um, well, I'm 34 now. So being a late bloomer, I consider myself that because I think, I tend to figure things out a lot later based on experiences and,
mm,
based on experiences, maturity.
mm,
Um, so what is love to me? I had an interview about maybe good year ago, and someone
mhm,
asked me, what is love to you? And I said, I think love is to give without expectations.
mm.
But when I answered that, and then a few months down the line, I kind of now question whether or not is that really accurate now, because um I think it sounds very, it's very somewhat loving when you say, like, you just give without expectations, right?
It
But
sounds like unconditional love.
yeah,
Mm,
but at the same time, like, am I losing grasp, or am I losing grip of what it means to love myself, for
mhm,
example?
mhm,
And I don't really know what that means.
mhm.
So I'm still searching also on my own as well, perhaps with your help. Um,
I,
what
I'm,
is
I'm well.
love?
I'm still searching too, but I like your answer there because I think I used to define love in the same way in
Hmm.
the past. I defined it as love is doing for others without hesitation. With doing, how would I say it? Love is prioritizing others ahead of yourself. Yes, that's what I said many years ago. Prioritizing others ahead of yourself, because when we think of, and again, this is what today's topic is about, right? What taught us these definitions?
Right.
And I think it's what we may have seen being portrayed out there. It could have been in the love novels that we read when we were growing up. I didn't read them, but it could be, from movies that we watch. Our favorite drama series, that Lisa could have been the lead actress.
Or it could also be even the way we were brought up somewhat, like
Yes.
maybe, the way our parents were always, us first, like the children first, or something like that,
Yeah.
So we have this sort of preconceived condition, we're
Conditioning.
conditioned, we're somewhat conditioned to feel so, which I think, like to a certain degree, I think we're not wrong,
Yeah.
but maybe obviously there's a wider understanding to what love is. It's more than just what we have defined it as.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're going to go a lot deeper with regards to influences that come from family and upbringing. I think that's something that we need to give a lot more time to, inshallah.
Okay.
I think that's in the next episode.
Yeah.
But for now, let's talk about modern day relationships, Lisa.
Okay.
Why is it? And maybe you can tell me first whether this is true, but we do hear a lot of, and I'm very careful if using this word,
Okay.
failures in modern relationships.
Okay.
And I have my own reasons why I sometimes choose not to use the word failure.
Right.
But why do many modern day relationships fail? And this is not really to ask you for a direct answer, but I guess we're both
What do I
wondering.
think why?
Yeah.
And this doesn't just constitute marriages, right? Like this could be
Yeah.
relationships
Yeah.
or
In general.
well, I think it's when, based on what my friends share with me, I can somewhat deduce it's when, because many of them has shared with me that, like we've tried everything, like, because, you would assume that, like, oh, isn't there something that you could do, like, and there are various reasons why, but it's the trouble is when the communication, the dynamic between the both of them becomes very like, oh, it's like, for the better word, is actually toxic even to even continue, and which is very unfortunate.
Do you think there is something about the modern times that may have caused that?
To be fair to those relationships, I think it's not that they didn't try to make
Make it
it
work?
work. Yeah, I mean the thing is, like, to a certain degree, I'm sure that, in the course of things, like in trying to work things out, then you adjust your conception of what perfection is in the partner, or you adjust, like what is deemed to be the perfect relationship to you. You tend to sort of, like, you, in the course of it, that there's certain things that you're willing to give into. But then, like, after a while, it feels like, I think it consumes them. It feels like they're lying to themselves in trying to go on, so
Do you believe
from
that? Yeah. Do you believe that expectations can also change during the course of a long-term serious relationship?
I believe so, yeah. Because, because especially when, when when everything is all fine and dandy and it's beautiful, it's all flowery and everything is just sort of like, he could do no wrong, or she could do no wrong. Then eventually, like, when you spend a lot of time together and you start learning a lot more about each other, and that can adjust, that can change. I trust that. Yeah. Yeah, so based on the stories that I hear from people who do share with me about their issues with their relationships, you know, it's I do see that it's not something that they just give up quite easily. They try really hard. Some try even for years, even like, but it's just it's to the point where it becomes actually quite detrimental to themselves and to the other, and if they have offsprings, even to them. So they can't.
Because trying in itself can get very tiring. Trying alone when the other party is not really putting in as much effort can be demoralizing.
Yeah.
And not all of us have the luxury of time for whatever reason. Yeah.
I like the point that you said there about how when the other party may not put in as the same amount of effort, like, or maybe what's perceived to be the same amount of effort, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
And
sometimes it's perception.
yeah.
Like your partner may be doing a lot, but you're just not seeing it, and you think you're not doing anything.
Yeah, or maybe like you have a different definition of what's what, and then
what's effort and what's not effort, right?
Yeah, exactly. Even that, and it's really sad, to be honest, sometimes, like, because they do say that it's hard work, to keep it, to keep going.
Lisa, I mean, this is still the first episode, but I know this is a big topic for the both of us to tackle. And I mean, the disclaimer is that we don't have all the answers, but also, as I'm speaking about all of this, I realize we're not here to say that we are the best when it comes to relationships, or our relationships will never fail. Of course, we don't wish anything bad upon ourselves or each other or anything like that, or anyone listening.
Yes.
But
Absolutely, yeah.
we don't really know, right, what's going to happen in the future. We can only give our best, try our best, pray for the best, and hope that everything turns out okay. But we don't really know, and it is a scary thought, isn't it, when you think of it that way? But I mean, I do hope that whatever Lisa and I are doing here is gonna give some clarity to those who are looking for answers, looking for new perspectives, looking at things from a fresh new angle, even. Yeah, I'm sorry to interject, but I just suddenly I felt the weight as we're talking about this. I don't know about you.
When Yusri and I got when we were getting married, we were not married yet at that point. So we had like a sort of a talk, and Yusri has been married before. So I'm his second marriage in his life, and he's my first. And I was very young. I was 26. And obviously my maturity level and his maturity level is a lot different. He was 38 when we got married, I think. Yes, he was 38. So one of the things that he said to me, which was something that none of my exes have ever said to me.
Yeah, what is it?
Which was, he said, okay, first and foremost, he said, don't take communication for granted. That was the first thing that he said. So I was like, okay, what does he mean by that? And then I'm your typical girl growing up, figuring things out, right? Like, trying to figure out, like, what's right, and what can make me a better person, all that. I'm still figuring things out. I'm still at the moment still figuring things out. But he said that, like, okay, for example, if we may have disagreements in the future, I'll tell you straight right now, I can't read your mind. So if you're gonna do something like a silent treatment, I'm not saying that you do, but I'm just saying that if you do like a silent treatment, or if you're upset about something but you don't really explain to me why, I wouldn't be able to figure it out if you don't spell it out to me. So meaning to say,
that's a really good point.
So he said that because I'm not a mind reader, like, so, and I mean, because I think he kind of managed my expectations there, because maybe to a certain degree, I think at that point of time, I probably was the sort of girl who expected the guy to get it.
Yeah,
who
you know,
expected the guy.
you were already showing signs, I think. Uh,
Maybe, yeah.
but you know what? As much as we started off asking about modern day relationships. What Yusri mentioned there is actually very good because that's not a modern day problem. That's an age old problem. Communication and
Okay,
assumptions
right.
and jumping to conclusions
Yes.
and refusing to communicate and expecting your partner to just know,
To
uh,
understand and
to
get it, and like
understand.
sort of like, like, and he said to me that, that's not gonna help with making things right if I
Mm.
don't understand, like, and there'll be time wasted if it's like me trying to figure out what's what, and you're like, go doing the whole like, you know, you know, and so that was one thing. The other thing also was really like in my
Mm.
head. He said to me, and don't freak out if you fall out of love.
Wow.
And I was like,
We're just getting started.
and
Actually, yeah. Mm.
yeah, can you imagine? We were not married yet, you know? And here I am, I have this preconceived, as you mentioned earlier, right? Like we have this, like, we may have certain expectations about, what the ideal idea of what love is like, or what,
Mm.
like, maybe it's all those fairy tales we've been watching when we were kids,
Yeah.
like, who knows?
I mean, we just spoke about our favorite Disney movie, right?
Beauty and the Beast, by the way. Okay, so so he said to me, don't freak out if you
Mm.
fall out of love.
Yeah.
And then I was like, and that really, startled me. And I said,
Mm.
why would you say that? you know
Mm.
then he said that in time you might understand that, like, we're going to be spending time a lot together, and due to lifestyle or experiences or routine and all that,
Mhm.
then you may think like, oh, the flame is like
Dying. Yeah.
dying, but it's just that it's just that, we got caught up with life.
Life happens.
Life happens, as we say,
Mhm.
and then, you think that, oh, it doesn't feel like how it was in the beginning.
Mhm.
It doesn't feel like how it was, like how the butterflies in the stomach and all that
Mhm.
stuff, like whenever something like that happens, it's always important for us to revisit
Mhm.
and see how that can be rekindled and reignited somewhat, and I'm like, so profound, I'm thinking, like, this, he's telling this 26 year old
But
girl.
that's a very good point. Actually, Lisa, I think week episode 13 or 14, we are going to talk about falling out of love, whether that is something that can happen after falling in love. So it's
uh,
good that you raised this point.
right.
And yeah,
So but then coming back to episode 1, however, like this particular topic, like why they may fail, is maybe because of the fact that they may have not been prepared for that.
that's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like because of this preconceived idea of what ever after is supposed to be like, like, we have tied the knot, like we, and all that stuff, danika and all that jazz. It's supposed to be beautiful, it's supposed to be all nice every time, like,
Yeah.
gado-gado je patutnya gado manja je, that kind of thing. So I don't know, it's maybe that, like you said, like maybe there are certain things that we view on the outside,
Mhm.
certain elements
Mhm.
that we view on the outside that might make us feel that this is how it's supposed to be,
Mm. That's
you
true.
know
Yeah, and so when we read fairy tales, when you watch movies, we get an idea of what love is supposed to look like, feel like, but it's mostly on the surface. Would you agree? We don't
Mm,
really get to experience what real love is unless you are already committed and you are with someone and living with that person or waking up every day beside that person and sharing responsibilities with that person and raising a family with that person and paying
yeah,
bills with that person and
yeah,
going through
yeah.
hardship with that person. So it's really a lot. And I wonder also, and my next question to you is, do you think that there are a lot of perhaps young couples? Young couples is not defined by age, like they could be in their 30s or 40s, but they just got into a relationship, just got married. Huh? Do you think that there are some who go into marriage and go into serious relationships not having a clear goal as to what they really want. For example, Elisa, I pernah tanya tau, the couples at solemnize before they get married. I asked them, so why are you guys getting married? And their answer is like, because it's time. And I'm like, huh? What do you mean? Yeah, because I'm 26 or because I'm 28, because we are 30 already. So it's like, oh, so you mean you're getting married because you're supposed to, or because society puts pressure on you that now, like they don't even have a good, clear reason as to why they want to get married in the first place. Meaning they have no goals. What do I want to achieve out of this? Nothing. Do you think that's a problem happening today?
This is this hits the spot, to be honest. Like, when I first got married and people wondered why did you get married, like there were so many questions. By the way, I was judged for many things, which was awful, really, to be honest. Like, because I fell in love with these three, and people felt like, um uh don't you think it's too soon? You're at the peak of your career, da 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 da. And my answer was similar to the couple that you asked. I said, because it's time. And to a certain degree, yes, I think I was socially conditioned to believe that you have to marry by a certain age, so that you can get kids at a certain age, and my goals were very gray. My goals were very like, I want to settle down. I want to have a family by a certain age. I don't want to get married too old. That's this precondition.
The rough ideas you had there.
Yeah, the rough ideas that I had there were, like, I don't want to be a lot older when I get married, because the goal is that, to start a family, so that you can have family, so that you can have babies, so those were my brief
All
goals.
and all of which are very good reasons, in my opinion, because the Prophet, peace be upon him, actually told us to get married and to have a family, to have children. That's what he recommends, and that's what he wants us to do. And it's perfectly fine to have those goals, but it's about really knowing that that's the goal and that's the objective. Okay, I've counseled couples, Lisa, who have been married, some of them 10 years, some of them 5 years, some of them only a few months. And, it does not really make a difference whether they are 10 years into it or 10 months into it. Sometimes I see their problems are about the same. They don't really know why they're here. And it's weird, it's like, so why did you get married if you say you're not ready? Because some of them, they come and their problem is to start, I think I'm not ready. Whether it is, I'm not ready to lead, I'm not ready to support my partner, I'm not ready. There are some, Lisa, I'm not ready to be intimate with my partner, but you got married, but you agreed. But it's just something that just it makes me wonder, why did you sign on the dotted line, agreeing to be with this person in this family unit, a concept of being in a marriage institution, without first knowing what you really wanted out of it. So, I mean, going back, age is really not the biggest factor. It could be one of the factors, but it's not the biggest factor. You could be 24 for all I care, but you are so matured and you know exactly what you want. And you communicated to your partner, this is what I want, and I want to build this with you. That gives so much clarity to the relationship, that it helps both of you to be aligned, and you know that this is what we're both going to go for, pursue together. Okay. Yeah. So I think, in my opinion, knowing what you want is very important. So for all those listening right now, whether you are already married or you're thinking about it, it's okay to start jotting down once again, like, okay, why do I want to get married, or why am I in this relationship?
Right.
It's never too late to ask this question, and then sit down with your partner. Okay, are we, are you checking things off your list? Because I am, but I'm not sure whether you are, because I don't think we communicated early on about the things we wanted, whether we wanted the same things or the different things in life. Let's compare notes. That would be a good activity to do. But if you're,
Ooh, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but if you're single, just do it on your own, and then when you meet someone, I'm not suggesting, okay, so here's my notepad and I have about 57 pages, so let's go through them one by one. Don't scare them off,
Those-
but in the conversations, the first few conversations, you should definitely bring up the points that to you are the most important.
Hmm. Wow. Well, that's fantastic. Uh, when relationships get to, kind of like um, a stale phase, like sort of like it's not exactly
It's not exciting anymore.
it's not exciting.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, and it's sort of like, you're here, you're there, I'm here, and
Mm-hmm.
it's sort of like that. A few of my friends discussed this, like a few of my girlfriends were
Mm-hmm.
talking about it, and then they were saying that, one of the ways that we revisited was, when I say revisited, it meant like to sort of like, hey, let's take a halt for a minute with what life is all about, but let's just focus on each other for a minute. And one of the things that they did was to figure out um, what each other's love languages
Oh
were
yeah.
or are.
Mm-hmm.
And because, like, remember earlier in the conversation, you mentioned how things can change, expectations can change. And this, I think, applies to us as well, because due to experiences in life, and all that we mold.
Mm-hmm.
We are shaped, based on all of these factors, right?
Yes.
And the things that we digest, the things that we learn as well, also help mold us to be the individuals that we are today.
Mm-hmm.
And the individual that, that we are now may be different from the individual that we were at the point of time that we lafaz nikah.
Yes.
You
And
know.
sometimes people don't realize that it's possible and it will most likely happen that we will evolve over time.
So that was interesting to hear them share about, my friends as couples figuring out what their love languages were. It kind of helped them kind of
Have
understand
you
each
done that
other.
exercise yet?
I did it, but you three didn't.
Okay, because my wife actually forced me to do it, to be honest,
She did.
and so we did it together, and I found it quite enlightening actually,
Somewhat, yeah.
because yeah, the outcome of it is quite accurate, and I think we try to.
Did it help you understand yourself?
Yes, I
Right?
think to me that is the enlightening part.
Right?
It's the
I think so.
self-awareness.
I
Yeah.
think I think sometimes that's what we need as well, like I think there's a tendency that we seek for assurance from the other party, but it can be enlightening, as you mentioned, when we are able to reassure ourselves
Yeah.
about, like, hey, like, I understand what I want and what I need now,
Mm.
you know?
And that gives us something to use to communicate to our partner, like, this is how I want to be loved, this is how you can love me better, this is how you can care for me better,
Mm,
and that will take your relationship and your marriage to the next level,
you can,
to a
yeah.
level where you've never experienced before.
Yeah.
So give it a try, guys. And this is something that has been around for quite some time. It's Gary Chapman, I think, right? The
Yeah,
book,
that's right.
The Five Love Languages. So check it out, and hopefully, let us know whether
If
it
it helped
helps. Yeah,
you,
it
yeah,
helps.
if it helped you some way or another, it's in a way, I think, a great way to understand yourself about, the kind of person that you are. What is your love language,
Mm.
and Yusri was so busy with work that he was unable to do it. Like, I would send him the link and I say, you want to give it a try? And he was like, yeah, I'll get to it, and then
Yeah.
I think he kind of forgot, and I totally forgot about it as well,
Mm.
because strangely, after I did mine, I felt better. I
Mm.
understood myself better, and that
Mhm.
helped me in communicating with him. Hey, I understand myself better now, and I think this is how how it would help me in making me feel better or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because having this information also gives you a better understanding of yourself. Because, for example, if one day you notice yourself or you catch yourself feeling upset or
Mm,
disappointed or moody, and in with your partner around, with your spouse, you realize, oh, it's because I didn't get what I normally seek for.
mm,
I'm not getting what I need in this relationship,
mm,
in that particular conversation or in that particular incident that happened yesterday or last week.
mm,
You reflect and then you connect the dots, and I think that's very powerful, because
mm,
sometimes we misplace our anger and think that our partner is horrible and lousy, or we think that this will never work. But actually, those are sometimes isolated incidents, just one thing, one word that was not said, or one expectation that was not met, right?
mm,
And
mm.
we sometimes exaggerate the problem into something a lot bigger than it actually is.
Yeah, that
Uh,
that happens a lot, especially when
mm,
emotions take over the rationale.
or when we're tired, sometimes being
Yeah.
tired because we had a long day,
Mm,
and there's one thing that just doesn't happen our way, and we just blow up, and
mm.
that will be quite sad.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, Lisa, I think one last point for this episode.
Okay.
I have to touch on this because this is happening to a lot of us. A lot of us, we love to watch movies. We love to watch dramas. We live now in the world of Netflix. Almost everyone is Netflixing in some way, right?
Netflix and chill.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I want to reference my next question with regards to that, rom-coms, Korean dramas. Do you think that watching too much of these things, yes, for the sake of entertainment, but do you think subtly, subliminally, they are also um, influencing the way we think about love, to the
Absolutely.
point where we over fantasize love?
Absolutely. And
Mm,
it's not just that, it's also social media. It's also the influences that they follow, or, the people that they admire, and then they
mm,
show how happy they are with their relationships and how romantic it is with their dinners, and the vacations that they have, and like the moments and all that stuff. Like on one hand, there's one way you can think about, like the person sharing is just sharing, like they're so happy, their happiness is somewhat like sort of, they're just so happy, they want to share. And it is the age of social media even now, that it's come to be quite normalized
mhm,
to do this, like where you share,
mhm.
how happy they are and all that. And followers, they they I think it's like, they start feeling, that would be nice, I like to have that, that'd be nice, I
Yeah,
like to have that,
the compulsory photo where the girl's hand is being taken from behind, and then the guy, I want that, and then hashtag
This
couple
is
couple goals.
yeah,
Um,
I don't know if you've heard this, but this is new to me. But I never understood it until later, when someone a lot younger explained to me. Oh,
mhm.
I ship them, I ship them, or I stand them, or I stand them. And there are terminologies that
What does that mean?
apparently it's like a couple goal
Mm,
terminology,
mm.
where like if you say I ship them, it means that, like, oh, I adore them, I
Adore.
think, yeah, like
Ah,
I
okay.
adore, I want that, I want what they have, that kind of thing.
Is
you
ship
know
short for relationship or what?
I think so. I'm not sure what stan is. It's STAN. Oh my gosh, you guys have to help us with this,
I'm just too old for this. Oh no, no. Okay.
so you
Um,
you and me both.
yeah.
And so, like, uh and quite frankly, like there are times that, like when I watch a movie, or when I see something online or whatever, and I'm like, oh, that's so nice, that'd be
Mm,
nice to have, that'd be nice to feel, that'd be nice
yeah.
to experience,
Hmm.
and I think, yeah, absolutely, I think you hit the nail right there, where we it is because we're digesting this
Hmm.
visually, and it has somewhat triggered something in our hearts and mind to,
Mm.
and then that conception starts forming, and believing that, like this would be something that we imagine happiness to be, and we want that, you know
Yeah, those are very good points. And I feel, okay, one of the reasons why I raise this is because I think it affects relationships because,
mm,
bear with me, because
no
if
problem.
let's say a woman like for the sake of an example, a woman watches a very romantic character in a particular drama series that she completely falls in love with, not just his looks but his mannerisms, and how much of a gentleman he is, and how generous he is, and how he's always complimenting his partner, and you begin expecting that in your
Mm,
partner.
mm,
You say that's my benchmark,
mm,
and there's nothing wrong to have ideals, right?
mm,
To dream, but do you is it fair to expect, your partner, your current or future partner,
mm,
to have all of those qualities exactly?
mm,
And
mm.
that to me sometimes causes certain relationships to get hurt more badly than it should. Because yeah.
I have to share this. Like, I am just, I'm just as, sort of like, there was a point in time, I think about maybe a few years ago, due to the movies, due to social media sharing and all that, right? I'm
You
like,
became a hopeless romantic, is
I
it?
became, yeah, I became very like, like, where are my bouquet of flowers? Where are my bouquet of chocolate
Chocolates,
covered
yeah.
strawberries,
Yeah.
why, don't have that sort of thing? Why no surprises like that, like,
Mm.
and then, but the thing is like, uh, it made me realize, like, when you, when Yusri got me a bouquet of flowers, he did. And then it was based on how I was sort of like, where are my bouquet of flowers? And then he did it, And then I was like, okay, one, if I hadn't had said anything, would that have happened? And then now that it has happened, the feeling is not exactly how I
Yeah.
expected it to
Mm.
be.
I
And
can see a bouquet
secondly,
of flowers behind you actually in the vase.
and then thirdly, then like when it comes to caring for flowers, I'm not exactly a pro at it either. Like I don't really have green fingers. And then I'm like thinking, what am I doing? Why am I allowing for all these other external factors to
Mm.
define what I like about my husband or what I love about my husband, you know? And then it kind of made me sort of like, you know what, like if I were to sort of like denounce, the external factors for a minute or for a while or whatever, I think it's fine. It's okay to watch movies. It's okay to have a
Yeah.
social media account.
Yeah.
That's all well and great. But it's how much of it that you allow to consume the way you are, the way you think, and etc.
True.
And so I started to sort of like really wanted to count my blessings with regards to my relationship with my husband.
Mm.
Like I wanted to try and find, like, I tried looking at like what's the good, because what's the good through my eyes,
Mm.
not so much what is preconceived by everything else that I've watched externally. So
Mm-hmm.
I tried that sort of thing, and it's a whole different ball game.
Mm.
It becomes more of like, this is us. It
Mm.
felt more meaningful in that way,
Yeah.
you know. But I have to admit, though, I fell for it, like totally, absolutely fell for it. I was like, where am I? I don't get flowers. I don't get like chocolate covered strawberries, all that. Just I went through it all, and he's like, you know,
Is
I'm
is is
obviously
is
the more.
I'm gonna take a wild guess, but is one of your love languages receiving gifts? Is that it?
It's actually not. It's more the surprise element.
Oh,
I
okay.
want I want the surprise. It doesn't have to be tangible stuff, but it's the act.
The thought.
Yeah, it's the thought. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. It's more that, like, so um that's more of the thing,
Cool.
like, because when it comes to things like I it's not really that for me. No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
understand.
Mm.
All right. So, wow, what a way to kick things off. First episode, we didn't really plan to go so deep into all of these concepts, but I think we've covered quite a bit. Lisa,
Yeah.
thank you for having this conversation.
Thank you.
So, everyone, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. If you're watching this visually, we hope that this episode is going to help us in our future conversations. We have many more episodes to come.
So
Thank you
much
for
more. Yeah.
supporting us. If you love anything, please tag us on social media, your favorite parts, maybe points that made you think, made you ponder. Share your thoughts with us. We'd love to hear from you as
Yes,
well.
we'd love to. Yes.
Yes, and we'll see you again in the next episode. Thank you. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Barakallahu fikum.